You're listening to Mira Business FM.
Time to talk real estate on the Morning Drive now. Mario Volpi is the Senior VP for Investment Advisory at Allegiance Real Estate, known and loved by many for his weekly column in The National. And of course, he's a regular weekly podcaster about all things real estate here in the UAE. I always like to see you, Mario. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Do you know, I wanted to start with the launch that you were at last night, because I know you are a man about town. You're something of a, I was going to say a cad, but that's the wrong word, isn't it?
Crikey.
I know. I'm showing my age now.
A cad, wow.
A man about town. A dandy is the word I was looking for.
Okay.
I don't quite know why I'm going for the 17th century parlance here, but you did attend a launch last night of a big new tower.
Yes, it was Sobha's latest launch on Sheikh Zayed Road, called Sky Parks. It's their biggest tower, actually, 110 stories, 450 meters tall. It's going to stand loud and proud just on Sheikh Zayed Road. So, 5 minutes from Business Bay, 7 minutes from downtown, and obviously very close to the IFC. So location-wise, very, very good. Nice apartments, obviously the quality of Sobha. But it was all glitz and glamour. We were at the Coca-Cola Arena last night, and full dinner, bit of a double act show with the sort of SVPs of Sobha, which I think they tried their best. It was quite humorous.
See, I'm able to read between those lines. When somebody says, "Well, you did try your best," that's normally because you're the third tree in the nativity play as a child.
No, I think, but they were trying to be funny. They were trying to be comedic, and I mean, real estate is not really comedy. Everybody's into it for all the right reasons, not to have a laugh. As I say, they tried their best, and it was amusing.
So, what kind of properties are going to be here? Because this is kind of a self-contained tower. This is one of those things that you can get everything you need in your building, isn't it?
Yeah. The only thing they'll probably they won't have is like a supermarket. So what they're saying, they're selling it along the lines that it's a place that you don't really need to even leave, apart from obviously getting your groceries. There are going to be 4 Sky Parks. These are going to be strategically placed within the tower, and that's going to add a different element. Some are going to be for children, some are going to be for adults. Climbing rocks. I mean, you name it, they'll have it there. Right. State of the art, everything. And of course, the higher up you go, the bigger the actual apartments. Right at the top, you've got 3 and 4 bedroom sort of penthouses and duplexes. And they're made up of 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms mainly.
Okay, I do like a duplex. Another thing that you mentioned just before we came into the studio is we've got GITEX is kind of the backdrop to our week this week, really. So everything that you read in the papers is AI and digital transformation. Digital transformation is, of course, continuing. And Dubai government is very much, I think it's reasonable to say, at the forefront, isn't it?
Yeah, so they've launched this first phase of something called a digital sales service through the Dubai Now app, and they launched it at GITEX. And actually, later on today, I'm going to be mentioning this on another radio station. Now, this service offers a completely remote end-to-end experience that begins with electronic creation of a sales contract, which the seller signs and sends to the buyer via the platform for the completion. The buyer then transfers the payment to the service's dedicated account, after which the ownership certificate is instantly issued in the buyer's name through the application. Now, I need to sort of understand a little bit more about it, because we do have trustee offices, we do have conveyancing clerks who assist the whole process when a buyer is found through a real estate company. I mean, in the old days, we had to do it all ourselves, and I say we, the agent did. So the agent ended up being the broker, the lawyer, and the advisor for finance if there was finance there. Yeah. We now have licensed conveyancers, which it is a specialist job, and I would always recommend, if it's being offered, to actually use a licensed conveyancer, purely and simply because you don't know the experience actually of the agent, and whilst the agent is juggling many balls of many clients, you don't know, how busy they are, and you want to ensure that everything is done properly. Now this going online, my question really is, will they eventually get rid of trustee offices, which is where you have to go, obviously, to do the transfer. But it's interesting that for the moment, this particular platform is only for people with Emirates IDs. Right. It's only for properties that are in freehold areas, and actually have to be mortgage free. So it obviously needs to become more sophisticated, and eventually, I guess, they'll roll it out to everyone. But right now, GITEX, it's all about the announcements, and this is a good one.
It really is. I mean, so this is a procedure or a potential kind of streamlining of procedures to speed things up if you are in a particular position. This is not for the average Joe like me.
Well, I mean, it depends what you mean by the average Joe. If the average Joe doesn't have a
no
mortgage,
cash like me.
Yeah, well, okay, fair enough. So yes is the answer.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, we'll end it there.
No, but it is an interesting point, isn't it? And I think you make a very good point there. It is very much about the announcement, so we need more details. And with GITEX going on, the announcements are coming thick and fast. I'm doing a big GITEX thing later on this morning. Let's look at some of the things that you've been covering. I know this is something that you've covered in your podcast. And the first thing to bring up is this report from Knight Frank. Despite a complex macroeconomic backdrop, Dubai still holds the crown in ultra-luxury home sales as a home sales market. What else can you tell us about this, Mario?
Yeah, so the luxury segment of properties, this is above $10 million, actually. And it refers to the second quarter of this year, where sales were actually up 19% year on year, with 590 transactions. Their value was actually up 33% as well. Now, Dubai's deal numbers outpaced other major cities like New York, London, and Hong Kong. But despite this, New York actually claimed the top spot for the total transaction values since late 2021, mainly due to strong activity in the ultra-prime condominium market in sort of Manhattan, for example.
Right, okay.
LA also showed a sharp rebound. That was, again, based on big sales in family homes in Beverly Hills and Malibu, and Hong Kong also saw a solid recovery in both transaction numbers and values. But data from the report confirmed that roughly 1 in 5 global super prime sales originated from Dubai, with record-breaking transactions coming from the usual suspects, Palm Jumeirah, Emirates Hills, Jumeirah Bay Island, and indeed Dubai Hills, where several properties sold for well over several million dirhams.
It interests me, this, because I wonder how much more growth there is in the ultra luxury, super prime, whatever the correct phrasing is for a market like this. It's what Dubai is known as, but how long can something like that keep going?
Well, I mean, that's the $1 trillion question, isn't it? Even the $1
million
million question.
Yeah.
Look, we've been questioning this marketplace, and not just the luxury prime end, the whole marketplace. Yeah. For a while. I mean, when you consider that we've come out of, what is it, 4 years now that we've come out from COVID. I know it's COVID-19, and I know we had the majority part of 2020, but it was sort of from 2021 that the property market really started to take off. So maybe not so much at the beginning, but towards now, as we start to think, are we going to run out of puff? And the straight answer is the fundamentals are all there to say no. And even if, let's say, the population was to start waning a little bit, because that's what's really driving this. Yeah. I mean, the amount of people that are coming here, and not just people to come and doss. These are people who are coming, opening up businesses. These are entrepreneurs. Not necessarily all of them are millionaires, but a lot of them have a lot of money. And that's all going to go back into the economy, which is why when you hear in the news, that the IMF is upgrading the UAE. I think it was said 4.8% and 5% next year. That's going some. So the question here is, they will keep building. The answer here is that developers will keep building these ultra luxury condominiums, penthouses, duplexes, whatever you want to call them, in apartments, and luxury villas although less of those, to be fair, because they would have to command a larger piece of land. And when it comes to profit and loss, obviously, from a developer's point of view, it's better to build a tower than obviously a master community of big villas, which is also why prices of villas and townhouses continue to strengthen, and any sort of stabilization in the market is coming primarily from apartment prices, where clearly, every tower has 300-400 apartments in it, and I think last night's tower was something like 900 apartments, given the height.
Well, the population is going to grow by any benchmark, any marker you look at, any piece of research you look at. It is set to continue. There may be some kind of slowdown because how can you possibly keep up this kind of pace? Let me just give you a personal example. I moved, honestly, about 3 days before lockdown, so March 2019, and I went from Media City to Moudon to Arabella.
But you went from a villa. You went to a villa.
From a villa.
Oh, from a villa to a villa.
4-bedroom villa in Media City to a 3-bed because my son was leaving to go to university pretty soon. So a smaller house, and it was Arabella too. So it's a brand new house.
But still house to house.
Still house to house.
Okay.
And I'd gone from in the mid. What was it? 160, 170, I think the cost of the house was, to a place that was 97. Huge saving. 2 years later, so early 2021, same villas are going for between 160 and 180. Because of the index, I'm still paying a reasonable amount less. Now, from what I gather, those villas are somewhere around 200,000.
Yeah, look. You've got to remember also that
100%.
No, I know, but I'm trying to be measured in my answer. I want to say it is what it is, and it is what it is because of the supply and demand.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the smart rental index there, which is a mechanism that actually keeps a lid on rental prices for those tenants that are renewing. But you've also got to look at what the market's doing, and vacant properties. Landlords will continue to put prices up if there is a queue of people wanting to take these units. You would, I would, everybody would. So
it's genuinely not a criticism.
Yeah.
This is just me making the point. It illustrates the point well, I think.
It does illustrate the point, and that then moves people to a different dimension. They then have to decide, okay, so is it the size that I'm wanting?
Yep.
Is it the location that is more attractive? I closer to the school for the school run if there are kids involved. Is it the lifestyle? I mean, I don't know what's necessarily around there, and all of the above. Now you've got to assess. I'm actually going through that myself, and I mean, I've bought investments in Dubai, but ironically, I've never lived in anything that I've bought. So I continue to rent. So actually, I have both ends of the spectrum. So on one hand, I'm making money, and the other one, I'm giving it away.
Well, there you go. The hand that feeds.
But because life happens in terms of either families, move on. If you have grown-up kids, they go to university, they may go abroad. So all of a sudden, the property that you're in is just too big. Yeah. And so I'm looking also to downsize. And now, I mean, I'm hearing a lot from some of my economist friends. Ironically, those who were here in Dubai at one stage, but are now no longer sort of in the UAE. We used to do a property program actually on Dubai. You might remember it. And this guy was an economist. Mike Small, his name is. And he was known as Doctor. Do you remember Mike?
Dr. Doom. I remember Mike well.
Yeah, because he was always bringing down the market. And he's saying to me, Mario, just remove all your debt. Because like a big crash is happening, and I with one ear I listen to what he says, but Dubai continues to sort of ignore these sort of signs globally, and continues to diversify, and like I said before, and when I say Dubai, I mean I'm talking about the whole Emirates, obviously, not just Dubai. The leaders get together, they sit, they talk, they run the cities or the country, a bit like a business, and and arguably you could say other politicians do across the Atlantic. And for the betterment of the company, i.e., for the betterment of the employees, the residents, if you like, and always come up with these innovative ideas. I mean, you just heard there in the news, the golden visa has been upgraded.
Yeah.
You know, so they're continually looking to improve the lifestyle here, a lifestyle that is already super attractive to most people in the world. And that is, to me, is the key. Economically, you know, oil can go up, it can go down, inflation can go up and can go down. Real estate has to come down. It's not just always up and up and up. So these sort of undulations, they just happen. But in the meantime, our leaders are sitting and having meetings and making sure that our life here in the Emirates is as best as it possibly can be. And I think that is why the whole of this will just continue to a greater or lesser degree.
It's about forward momentum, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the idea that if you keep moving forward, and I think a lot of us, there's a fear in life. Life happens, whether you like it or not, whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. Life continues, and it's kind of mirrored in the attitude. And from that, you gain, I always kind of figure that there's a fear, but you gain a kind of fearlessness if you face life in that way and you push forward. Does that even make any sense?
It does, and I think sometimes we overthink things, and sometimes we worry too much. When you actually think back on episodes in your life and you think, yeah, you know, I really, really worried about X, Y, Z, and then the outcome was nothing or hardly anything that you even worried about. So I think sometimes we do overthink things as well. Of course, we have to take everything in its measure, and assuming people, you know, have good jobs and they've got good salaries or they've got good incomes. All I would then say is, you know, where possible, try to squirrel away some money, and next minute you've got yourself a deposit, and then you can join the real estate dream.
You'll be glad to know that you are having an impact, Mario. A couple of questions in for you.
Oh.
Can I put you give you the first one? It won't hurt, I promise. Hello, I have a question for your expert. I've just bought a property in Dubai South. It's my first ever property purchase, so congratulations. Do you think, you've already kind of answered this in a weird way yourself, should I live in it with my family, or should I rent it out and continue renting myself? This is Ramila, I think. What makes more sense?
Well, I guess you've got to look at why did you buy it in the first place? If you bought it, you know, to live in because it has everything that you need, then I would suggest continue to do so, or in fact, if you haven't moved in, do move in. However, just like me, there is nothing stopping you from sort of enjoying, if you like, the flexibility of renting, expensive though it is, but then being able to sort of invest in the property market.
You're mitigating the effect, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. And of course, like we say, life happens, and you know, when you buy a property, you're kind of, I'm not going to say you're stuck with it, but it's a lot harder to sort of remove yourself. Yeah. If you're renting, you know, depending on where you are on the scale of your contract, you can either give notice to the landlord. There are some sort of penalties, etc. But you can then effectively move out a lot more easily, should I say, rather than sort of selling. You've then got to sell it. Now, you could be lucky that you sell it within the first viewing. Or unfortunately, as most sellers here, they try their luck and they put it on a little bit too high, and therefore it stays on the market a bit too long.
Stefano's text in, enjoying the conversation. I like Mario's honesty. Stefano, we'll ask your question and have a think about this during the news.
Is this Stefano or Stefana?
Stefano.
Oh, so it's a boy, right? Good.
Well, there you go.
A gentleman.
The Italians, they
It's
band
called
together.
Stefano.
Stefano. Okay. Stefano, there you go. I've been put straight. Have a think about this during the news, Mario. He's asking if your take on branded residences, are they worth it?
Oh, yeah, this is a good one. Good hot potato.
It is a good question. It's Mira Business FM. You can get in touch with us on WhatsApp. It's really easy to get through. Just don't bother with the numbers anymore. Just go whatsapp.mira.fm. The WhatsApp will come up. Send us questions in. We'd very happily talk to Mario. Let us know what you think as well. Mario Volpi, Senior VP Investment Advisory at Allegiance Real Estate, here until 10 o'clock this morning. This is Mira Business FM. The Morning Drive, Mario Volpi is with me. He is the Senior VP for Investment Advisory at Allegiance Real Estate, a loved and cherished media figure as well.
That's very nice.
I thought that
Is that from you, or is that written somewhere?
No, that was completely off the top of my head. I've been rehearsing that all week, Mario, just to welcome you, make you feel warm inside.
It's very kind.
Stefano. I know, I keep doing that. Stefano is asking, here you go, likes your honesty, as do I have to say. What's your take on branded residences? Are they worth it?
Well, before I answer that question, let me just tell you that actually Dubai is now home to sort of 61 branded residences. They're completed. And there's more than 100 other projects under development. Now, that actually represents the world's largest pipeline of such projects. And what I can say is that branded residences typically do command premiums of up to 40% on resale. Now, what do I mean by that? If you've got an exactly the same unit, that one is branded and one isn't, up to 40%, you can actually get more money on it. Now,
Right.
Of course, it depends on the actual brand. It depends on what the brand does or says for you as well. We all know our haute couture brands in terms of fashion, and when we bring it to real estate, we know Mira has done Trussardi. You've got Lamborghini villas. You've also got Armani as well. So these are kind of the highest end. And interestingly, I was saying off air that we haven't had, Louis Vuitton or Prada or Gucci yet. But I've often said, that there's room for it. So they do demonstrate stronger resale values and also faster sales cycles as well. Right. So, but it's something that I think that Dubai has taken to it. I think if you ask the same question sort of in different parts of Europe, you will get a similar answer, but maybe not as strong an answer.
Yeah.
Here we're very much attached to our brands, whatever they are, whether it's a car, and even the automotive industry has now entered real estate, with Aston Martin and with Mercedes, of course, linking up with another developer. So depending on what the brand says to you or how you are associated with the brand. I mean, even Chelsea Residences, let's bring them in as well.
Well, that was in my head because that has a place in your heart, I would guess.
It does, but you see, I think Damac were also very not clever, but they took a risk because not everyone is a Chelsea fan, and of course
they're certainly not, Mario.
Well, especially around this table. But what I'm trying to say is that it speaks to some, but not to others.
Sure.
Now, football is very tribal. I think they really took a risk there because whilst Chelsea is becoming, I mean, some will argue it's not, but it is becoming a brand in itself. I mean, we are the champions of the world. We've won everything there is to win. There is not one trophy that Chelsea has not won. So I just want to put that out there to you.
You did that so well.
In a non-aggressive way, obviously, as you can see. Actually, it was quite aggressive, wasn't it?
It was more forthright, but well done.
But the point I'm saying is that despite all of that, you arguably Chelsea is a brand.
Yeah.
But it's not going to appeal to everyone or even to a lot of people. Now, whilst the actual real estate that Damac was offering was amazing, wellness, saltwater, spas, the top of the range, everything, you name it, they have it there.
Yeah.
As well as facilities in terms of sports, there's even a football pitch on top of the roof. So the actual real estate element is amazing. But when you attach it to a particular football team, it's going to shy away. I mean, I live in JBR, and they've just opened a Liverpool shop. I'm never going to set foot in that shop.
I was going to say.
In fact, I walk the long way round, so I don't even have to look at it.
Well, you'd spontaneously combust where you stood outside.
I would. And even in the winter, I would.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's also the potential for a story here. I mean, lots of people coming to Dubai, lots of talent, lots of sports facilities. We're going to see perhaps sporting greatness coming from these shores. There are a number of people that spring to mind. All the academies that set up here. Wouldn't it be great to think that take Chelsea as the example? The academy starts to, perhaps harvest from these shores, perhaps, and you never know, at Stamford Bridge at some point in the future, there could be a Dubai-raised player. Who knows?
Yes, I have to say that, if I haven't already, I am the assistant secretary to the official Chelsea Supporters Club here, and we do have our UAE flagged banner in Stamford Bridge already. Right. And the banner says "Carefree in the UAE." That's our slogan. There's a song about that as well, but I won't sing it for you. No. And so yes, I mean these academies are in fact all out there. Chelsea hasn't got one as far as I am aware, but a lot of the other clubs do. So, of course, nurturing this talent from youngsters growing up, why not? Why not have a Dubai-born expat, let's say, for example, who's now playing for any club, let alone Chelsea?
So the answer to the question really is branded residences. Commercially, they are worth it.
It's a thumbs up, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it is.
But you have to, as I say, you have to be careful what the brand is and what does it represent, not just to yourself, because what it represents to you is how you will buy it, but you've got to have a little bit of a thought of what would it represent to someone else, and let's bring Chelsea back into it. So that would be amazing for me, but is it an amazing investment globally? The answer probably be no, because football is too tribal.
Allegiance in both ways, allegiance to your club and allegiance real estate. And
absolutely, allegiance all round.
Sometimes these things just trip off the tongue. Ramila is back saying, well, first of all, loving Mario's glasses, where can I get them from?
Let me just see.
Genuine question.
I've got a funny feeling that these are the cheapest things ever. I think I got these from Brands for Less.
There you go.
Dropping a name there.
Advertise away.
I think they were only like 20 dirhams.
Well, there you go, Ramila. Head down there now.
Thank you.
That's the yellow store, isn't it?
Are we actually? I didn't realise we were on TV.
We are on camera.
Oh, okay.
That's what that thing behind me is.
No, I knew, but I didn't realise it was out there. I thought this was just in here.
Oh no, it's.
So now I've got to behave myself.
It's in the ether. There is probably an alien life form watching you as we speak.
Okay.
Somewhere in the universe. Ramila says, I've got an apartment in Satwood. The area was recently rebranded. It's now called Jumeirah Garden City. Do you think that has an impact, may change the price of my property, or is it just a name for show? Oh, sorry, this is Carl. This is not Ramila. This is another text. This is Carl saying he loves your glasses.
Oh, okay.
And that's the question.
Thank you, Carl.
I think I might know who that is. Anyway, go on.
Okay. So I think it has an impact because when, for those of us who've been here a while, Satwa conjures up in my mind not Emirates Hills, if I can perhaps put it that way. Is that fair enough?
Very much. I lived in Satwa for a few years and I loved it, but it wouldn't be the epicenter of luxury.
And
but
actually,
it's a great place.
Excuse me. I started my real estate career in Dubai, arguably in Satwa. It was actually on Sheikh Zayed Road. It was a company called Ocean View. And behind you had those car parks, and it's literally a 2-minute drive from the Coca-Cola Arena. So that must be Satwa. Anyway, I think renaming it is. Sorry, excuse me. I've got. Renaming it, I think, is a very good move, because it also. It clears the decks. It's a clean slate. Right. So whatever Satwa represented to anybody, Jumeirah Garden City, and that sounds really nice, doesn't it? Jumeirah Garden City.
It's very welcoming.
And it conjures up images of greenery.
Does.
Which doesn't really have much greenery, I don't think. At least they haven't. At least maybe it's coming. Thank you. But. Anyway, in answer to the question, I think it's a very good move. and actually will bring people to come and have a look, and then they'll realise, my goodness, I'm 2 minutes from City Walk. I am, round the corner from downtown. I'm round the corner from Business Bay and DIFC. So actually, and not far from the beach as well. So, it is an area that I think will increase in value because of that name change. 100%.
It really is, but it's also just a locale. There's just so much you can get to quickly there. I can't see it losing popularity. But Carl, there is an answer of sorts. You can text us. WhatsApp.mira.fm is the easiest way to do it, rather than me mentioning loads of phone numbers. But it would be 522-789-567 if that's easier for you to have a question, put forward a question to Mario this morning. Monday saw the start of GITEX, 45 years, parking, well, there was a civil alert to avoid the area from Dubai Police that came through on mobile phones on Monday morning. Super busy, so much going on. Thousands and thousands of visitors at the event, which is basically all week. It's an event at Dubai Harbour, Expand North Star as well for kind of the entrepreneurial side of things. We were there on Monday talking to people. From your point of view, Mario, this kind of impacts all of us here in Dubai. What kinds of innovations can we maybe expect from the show?
So there were actually two announcements that's sort of struck out to me by the RTA. Now, these were one of sort of 11 announcements that they did. And one is flying taxis, which I've spoken about before on podcasts and other shows. But I think it's a really important thing to talk about. And the other one was a trackless tram. So let's do the flying taxis first. Okay. So the RTA and Jobby Aviation, which is the name of the company that has actually got the license to fly these flying drones, effectively just big drones, is going to start from next year, so from 2026. I have to admit, I'm going to wait a little while before perhaps going into one. I want to sort of test it first. See, you let me know how you get on.
Yeah. I'll try.
So they're going to start operations, which are going to cut times down especially from the airport to major parts of the city. So a typical journey time, let's say from DXB to say Palm Jumeirah, is going to be at least sort of 45 minutes with traffic. Yeah. I would have thought, especially by the time you get onto the Palm, the journey time in the flying taxi will be 15 minutes. Now, that can drastically, if you're needing to really get to places quickly, I think that is a bit of a game changer. And also, it can carry up to 4 people, not including the pilot. So 5 people in total, plus luggage.
Do you know what? The one thing that I think about this is how much of a change this will be for us. And this is a change that is coming soon. Commercial rollout expected in the first half of 2026. So vertical takeoff and landing, which is kind of an unusual helicopter-y type thing, but to see these vehicles flying over the city, it's going to be not just a game changer in terms of time, the 10 minutes rather than, versus 45 minutes, but a game changer for how you view the city as well. There are so many different aspects for this. It's very exciting, and it's very about to happen as well. That's the other side.
Yeah, and it's very sort of science fiction-ish, as it were. You start to look up in the sky, and not only do you see an A380 sort of very far in the distance, but it's sort of Jetsons-like. If you remember the Jetsons,
I do. Unfortunately, I do. Yeah.
So the other thing to say is that Ras Al Khaimah, which is one of the Emirates that is definitely evolving because of the Wynn Casino, they also announced that flying taxis are going to be launched from 2027. Now, the reason why they're 1 year later is that they're doing it in collaboration with the Wynn Casino. So from Dubai to RAK, Again, I don't actually know the actual time, but when you consider originally from Dubai to Iraq was around an hour and 15 minutes, the new road extensions and widening has actually reduced that down to around 45 minutes, and the flying taxi will obviously cut that down even further. And this is going to go straight into Al Marjan Island, which is where the Wynn Casino is. That's going to be in the first half of 2027. The second half of 2027 will then see flying taxis go from Al Marjan Island to Jebel Jais, which is the UAE's tallest mountain. Now, for those that don't really know, Ras Al Khaimah isn't just the staycation capital for us, as it were, or at least it used to be. Now, with the Wynn Casino, it's become sort of the investment capital, as it were. But it's also a place for thrill seekers. They love it there. You've got the world's longest zip line. That's right. 3.5 kilometers long. I've not done it. There's hiking trails, there's bike trails, lots of places for walking and taking in nature, which obviously you don't often get on Sheikh Zayed Road. So it's something nice to go and actually experience. So that is also all happening with the flying taxis. And I promised you the trackless tram. Now, this is going to be a next generation autonomous mobility system that can operate without rails. Now, it's going to be guided by optical navigation, GPS, and LiDAR technologies, whatever that is, as the tram is going to follow virtual routes, detecting obstacles in real time. Now, that's going to allow it to move smoothly through the streets whilst maintaining lower operational costs and leaving a much smaller environmental footprint compared to the traditional tram. Now, the rollout of the tram was not mentioned at GITEX, but I'm sure that with the way that the pace of AI, as we hear it all the time, the pace of technology, I'm sure it's not going to be too long that we're actually going to see sort of trackless trams moving around the city, and not just in Dubai, specifically also in Abu Dhabi, I would have thought.
Well, that makes sense everywhere, doesn't it?
Correct.
It's you don't have to rip up existing infrastructure to lay tram tracks. I guess, what does it do? Does it stop at bus stops, existing bus stops?
Well,
so
it would
they
have
create
to,
new stops.
yeah,
I guess it would.
Well, I guess it would. But if you look at the existing tram in the marina, that stops the traffic lights. Yeah. So that never stops other than at the stations. So I guess either these things will stop the traffic lights, but I suspect it probably won't, because they're going to be interspersed in amongst the traffic.
Yeah.
Unless they have designated lanes for it, like they have. It just doesn't have the track. Again, it's a mystery. All I know is that this technology is coming, and these were two of the RTA's announcements at GITEX, and of course today being the third day, we've got sort of two more days, tomorrow and Friday.
Yep.
There's bound to be other announcements, and of course I guess on Friday might be a big one, maybe, because they always leave it to the last.
You would figure, wouldn't you? I'm going to be running through lots of GITEX, do a roundup of GITEX, first 2 days at least, a little bit later on this morning. Here's another question for you. Imran, hi Mira Business FM. Hi Imran, enjoying the property segment. I have a question for Mario about the event scene from next year's GITEX, and loads of other events will be at Expo. Is it going to be, Imran says, carnage around Expo from now on? Is it worth investing near there? Which I think is a very good point.
There's a lot going on in the Expo site. It forms part of Dubai South, and the major employer down there is obviously the Maktoum International Airport. So Emaar are also building down there in Emaar South. It's a different sort of name, but kind of similar sort of area. So from an investment point of view, I would say definitely it's worth looking into. It's one of the few projects that I think will bring really good returns. So again, depending on why you're buying, do your due diligence and weigh up all the options. But for sure, from a point of view of capital appreciation, and I think with what's happening down there, the metro system is obviously coming down there. To have what effectively is the world's largest airport has got to be a draw. It's going to have 5 runways. Let's be honest.
It's huge.
When you consider Heathrow's got 2, and they've been arguing over a third runway for 40 years, 30 years.
As long as I can remember.
Well, exactly,
Yeah.
and still they don't have it. And Heathrow at one stage was the world's busiest. I mean, obviously that's now DXB, which I think touched 95 million or 100 million passengers recently. And in terms of passenger numbers, Maktoum International is looking to max out at 256 million passengers. I mean, that's 2.5 times what DXB is doing now. So that gives you some idea. So people have to work there, and people will have to live nearby. So again, if someone is buying to rent out to these kind of workers, I think it's a great investment. Going to the exhibition part, it moving from obviously Trade Center to Dubai South. I think it's just from a space point of view. Where you have a lot of people gathering, there'll always be traffic. Yeah. Will it be carnage? I would say less carnage. At least I'd hope there'd be less carnage, purely and simply because it's slightly less urban, isn't it, than Trade Center?
Well, it is, and it was set up for Expo. So roads around Expo are pretty big, pretty wide. Access is pretty good. There's lots of space there. There was, great effort made for car parking, for example.
Yeah, good parking, and then you can have like park and ride. And I'm sure that they won't charge you extortionate money.
I would hope not. Can I go back to flying taxis for a second? Because I'm fascinated by this. This has been talked about for a long time, and I like anybody, at first I was like, oh, that's not happening for years. It's happening starting next year. But the Dubai Ras Al Khaimah link that you mentioned, first half of 2027, is a really exciting development in that you're bringing Emirates closer together. You're able to move people more effectively. The views that we're going to get is still in my head, the way this changes and we become a Jetsons environment, as you put it. It's kind of thrilling in a way.
No, it definitely is. And I think it's a clever move because when you consider anybody coming to a casino is either somebody particularly desperate and he's only got a couple of dirhams in his pocket and he's trying his luck, or they're wealthy individuals.
Sure.
And, if they're wealthy individuals, they are more likely perhaps to come via this new mode of transport. I mean, I suppose you could come by helicopter, but, again, that's fairly elitist. This will... I mean, today it probably, I don't know what the prices are, but it's going to be a little bit, it's going to be quite high, I would have thought. But like anything, it will get cheaper. So it's battery life. That's all they've got to do. It's not like they've got to put petrol in it. They haven't put oil, gas, or anything like that. So eventually, the cost of a flying taxi will come down and then become mainstream. I think at the beginning it's a gimmick. It is exciting, and for sure, bringing these two Emirates together is a great move, especially as Dubai will not have casinos in the foreseeable future. And I say that because after the 5 years that Ras Al Khaimah's approvals expire, it's going to be Abu Dhabi that has them. Now, they'll if they follow the same route, then it's going to be another 5 years. So we're talking at least 10 to 12 years before Dubai probably has casinos. Does it need casinos? Probably not. I mean, it's got enough going on. It doesn't really need to actually have that as well. But if you are then only a 20-minute ride away or 15-minute ride away or whatever from one emirate to another, just to pop down and see if you can test your luck, why not? It then becomes all seamless. And then don't forget, we've got Etihad Rail as well coming in 2026.
There's a great deal to talk about, a great deal that is happening. I wanted to talk to you about a report, a real estate report, but we really haven't got time, unfortunately.
Well, it was good because we had live people actually writing in, which is really nice.
Yeah, another question in, but I can't read that to you. I'll ask you off air about that, because I have a feeling you know this person.
Oh, is it to do with Chelsea?
It's not to do with Chelsea. It's let's put it this way, it's slightly more tender than that. I have a feeling I might know this person as well. We'll see. Look, Mario, I really appreciate you coming in today. Just one more thing for you. From all of the texts that we've had today, what would you say, just one more thing on the branded residences, because I'm struggling with that. It's not my thing. But generally speaking, if it's your thing, it's definitely worth thinking about.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say it's not your thing. If I analyse it, it probably wasn't my thing either. I thought it was too much of a gimmick.
Right.
But it seems that I was wrong. Certainly from the build quality and the facilities that they're putting in, and hopefully if what they say on the brochure they then bring to life. then it will separate itself from, you know, the haves and the have-nots. It's a bit like flying in a plane. Look, you still get there whether you're in economy class or whether you're in first class or business. You still get there at the same time. You might get off the plane a little bit earlier. You might get your bag a little bit earlier, but the experience is the difference. And I think so. If someone's looking for a 2-bed here and a 2-bed there, if it's branded, you're going to have a slightly different and hopefully better experience.
Were you, one word answer, were you slightly tempted by the Chelsea branded residences to book a unit?
I was. For me, Maritime City is probably a little bit too early. But having said that, sometimes, you know, early investors are the ones that get the money. So.